We're getting into this 7th verse of the 5th chapter. Nehemiah is not a happy guy right about now. Nehemiah is just a little miffed by how the rich have been oppressing the poor. After serious thought. Okay, wait. I'm not going to be emotional. Let's get the emotional part out of the way. It says, after serious thought, I rebuked the nobles and rulers and said to them, each of you is exacting usury from his brother. So I called a great assembly against them. Now, usury was initially a term for interest. Okay, usury was just a, you went and you paid usury, all that stuff, and it was just, but usury has kind of changed its meaning, over a long period of time. And usury is excessive interest. You want to talk about car loans, title loans, I guess is what they call them now, or what else do they call it? Payday loans and stuff like that. Some of these people are getting into this, I got to have it and I got to have it now, for different reasons. Some of them, I guess, would be for good reasons. They got to do it and they have to take care of it. And, it is what it is. But sometimes you just can't pay that stuff back. It's like credit cards, amen. You just pay the minimum. You're going to be paying the minimum the rest of your life. They're going to be looking for you in the grave to keep on making that payment. And what after Nehemiah thinks about it for a while, I'm sure he's going to pray about it. Just say, okay, God, what are we going to do here? He comes down on the nobles and the rulers. Each of you is exacting usury from his brother. Now, this was a direct violation of the Mosaic covenant. Here's just one verse. Deuteronomy, okay? Now, we know that much of Deuteronomy is what has happened in the wilderness. Because really, let's talk about the beginning of this chapter. We're talking about divine order. There's something is out of order here. The way that the less fortunate are being treated here is out of order. And God is bringing things back in order and calling the nobles and the rulers into accountability. Deuteronomy chapter 23, you shall not charge interest to your brother, interest on money or food or anything that is lent out at interest. To a foreigner, you may charge interest, but to your brother you shall not charge interest, that the Lord your God may bless you in all to which you set your hand in the land to which you're entering to possess. Well, the nobles and rulers had forgotten about this one here. Wink, wink. Yeah, I'm sure that they had just, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't somebody say that that Moses had talked about this? Oh, yeah, right, boys. Yeah, right. That was Deuteronomy chapter 23, verses 19 and 20, talking about charging interest to their brothers. He says, to the foreigner you can, but to these guys you're not. When you lend to your brother anything, you shall not go into his house to get his pledge. You can help. You help your brother, but you don't hurt your brother. You guys are hurting your brothers, and there's other places, that we see this. Exodus chapter 22, verse 25 says, if you lend money to any of my people who are poor among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest. So, we could develop a teaching. We could find 2 or 3 witnesses, scriptural witnesses about this. Anyway, He rebukes the nobles and the rulers, back to Nehemiah chapter 5, verse 7. And I said to them, each of you is exacting usury from his brother. So I called a great assembly against them. Well, let's call it. First of all, he calls the nobles and the rulers. And he probably rips them a new one. And then he says, okay, now we're going to call everybody together. Now that you guys know where we stand on this matter. Just in case you didn't know Exodus, just in case you didn't know Deuteronomy, the scrolls say this is what Moses said. This is what the Lord commanded Moses to say. It wasn't just Moses. It was the covenant that they were living under. God had an economic plan. This was just not, you got to pray, you got to fast. No, it covered every area of their life. The covenant covered every area of their life. Even had a great economic system to go along with it. That's why there was such a thing as the year of Jubilee that we talked about already. That's why we're talking now about interest. It has come up as we go verse by verse, chapter by chapter. It has come up. So he's rebuking them. Then he's calling a great assembly. And I said to them, according to our ability, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. Now, indeed, will you even sell your brethren? And Nehemiah is saying, listen, it was bad enough that Nebuchadnezzar came and took us all away, stole our property, destroyed our temple, carried us all off into captivity for 70 years, and here we are trying to buy them back. Here we are trying to go to, now it's Artaxerxes, okay, because we had gone through Nebuchadnezzar, we had gone through Darius, we had gone through Cyrus, and now we're in the time of Artaxerxes. He says, ain't it bad enough that we're having to get our people back and to pay to get these people back from Artaxerxes and the Persian Empire? According to our ability, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. He says, little by little, we're going out there and we're bringing them back. I want to read this from another translation. We have tried to buy back all of our people who were sold into exile. But here you are, selling more of them for us to buy back. It says you guys are creating more trouble. As far as we have been able, the ESV says, have brought back our Jewish brothers who have been sold to the nations, but you even sell your brothers that they may be sold to us. It's bad enough that we're having to buy them back from the Gentile. But now we got to buy them back from the Jew? Now, what is it you guys want? According to our ability, New King James again, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. Now indeed, will you even sell your brethren? Or should they be sold to us? What is it you want? You want us to get the money and give it to you? Maybe we'd take away from the wall. Maybe we'd take away from the people that we're trying to bring from Babylon and Shushan and all throughout the Persian area that are scattered all over the place. Maybe that's what you want us to do. But take away from the wall. Then they were silenced and found nothing to say. Yeah, that's the time that all of a sudden all their eyes go down. Kind of looking at everybody up from the top of their eyes. Oh, what are we going to say here? Then I said, what you are doing is not good. Should you not walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? He says the nations are looking at us. What is our testimony out there? What is it that they are saying about us? Well, you guys continue this evil practice. Now, that's where we're going to bookmark it till tomorrow. The 9th verse of the the 5th chapter of the book of Nehemiah, and we'll just continue on this verse by verse, chapter by chapter that we've been doing here through this book.